Welcome to the month of joy and wonderment. So, the core theme of this month is actually finding joy in the ordinary. This is not about going that big, lofty, oh my gosh, I want to do that trip and I want to go there, because we all want to do things like that. This is not about the big, lofty dreams. This is about the moment to moment joy, the moment to moment joy in the ordinary moments, ordinary joy. So, this is about ordinary joy. It's about finding the moments where I remember when I was, when the kids were probably about 4 or 5, and I joined this group, and it was happiness moments. And every day you would post a picture of what that ordinary moment was, which brought you joy, which brought a smile to your face. And by doing that, it gifted me more joy, such as I found myself posting photos of more and more of the mundane things, like with my hands through the kid's hair, and I just took a photo of it. Different things like that. So this is about going back to the basics, going back to the basics of what you already know. We've all been on this journey of awakening, of finding ourselves, of discovering ourselves, of healing, of being the next level version of ourselves, of upgrading, of etc., and all of those things. But what about going back to the basics? Going back to the basics of some of the things that you possibly did when you first went down this pathway, and you wrote down a list of what you want to do, what you want to fill your life with, what things do you enjoy doing? What if you looked back on your, like over the last month, for example, would make you go, I'm smiling, creating life's smiles consciously with awareness in our background awareness. So that, say, for example, when yes, you've heard the thing of standing in a queue and then actually being fully present and being able to find wonder in that moment. What if standing in the queue, by you've been fully present in that with a resting smile, also watch your resting face with a resting smile, with sparkling eyes. Perhaps the person in front of you just needs to hear a kind word from you. Or perhaps your sparkling smile, the sparkling eyes, are what they then find inspiration to gift you something of themselves, where you go, oh, wow, thank you. It's about being curious in conversation, finding the wonder. If you go out and pick up a cuppa and buy a cuppa, ask the person in the queue something different. Connect with them. Say hi. Speak to the person who's serving you. Comment on something about their appearance. If they've got different earrings on, if they've got, say, a nice tattoo, but bring something personal to that conversation. This is about we finding bliss in the ordinary. I guarantee you find bliss in the ordinary, you will uncover and discover bliss in the magnificence, in the fabulous things that you might have planned and things like that. I learnt this very much when I went to Egypt last year. I found it really, really weird that I wasn't overly excited. And when I was in Egypt, I'm standing in front of these pyramids. I'm like, wow, it's just so beautiful. It was ordinary. Like it was like yeah, it was ordinary. But it was magnificent. It was amazing. And I can flourish a story on that and how much has evolved and occurred since then. But what if your ordinary day-to-day life was filled with so much bliss because you're taking a sip from a cup which says, I'm allowed, and that's it. And that's all you need. Absolutely. Normalizing wonder. Normalizing wonder. And so I really would like us to go back to the basics, such as, what are your values? What are the things that spark joy in your life? Do you know them? Can you rattle them off? And it doesn't matter if you don't have the exact wording and you're repeating the exact wording, but do you know what lights you up? I remember we did our family values when the kids were around 9 and 10. So that was like 10 years ago. Now, we still play with those same values: connection, togetherness, adventure, outdoors, conversation. It's all about that: connection, together, conversation, outdoors, adventure, uncovering something new, play. Our life has evolved and become around those values. The number of outdoor games that we have and have been created, the games nights we have within the family, the culture side of it led us to playing and going to different countries with the kids when they were younger so that they could see a new world. It meant trying different foods. We created things around them. We created the FAF Day, the Forward Adventure Fun Day, which represented going for a picnic in nature, not the beach, because we're by the beach. It's more around trees. And the FAF Day represented that. We then ended up having other people coming along with us, and it became the Forward Adventure Fun Day. Sorry, the family and friends. And so then it became, so in some ways, like, we went further than just defining and coming up with what our values were. We created something out of it where the kids would know what a FAF day. Hey, do you want to do a FAF this weekend? They would know a FAF. Yeah. So like, they know games. They do that. They know games. Ariane takes, when they play on top of the cars when they go out and meet their friends at night. Liam and his girlfriend play games every night. Yeah. So like, this is all about, yes, normalizing wonder. Yes, finding joy in the ordinary, but creating it and creating a movement around it. It's not just about saying that's what you want. Take it a step further. Take it a step further. So to move on to the next phase of this, you all know that Rod and I are in our midlife, and we're like looking at recreating and revitalizing what are the things that we want to do and how do we want to experience the next 10 years of our life. So we invest time discussing this, but also writing things down. We've got a little black book. It's quite funny that it was a black book, a little black book of all the things that we want to do and what inspires us. And so both of us are starting to write that down. We then started writing a list of what do we want to do at least once a month. So we brought in the FAF Day, we brought in culture, we brought in all these different things. Didn't plan to do any of it. In the last week, we only wrote this up at the start of last week. Yeah, the start of last week on the Monday. by Sunday, we'd actually already done accidentally, we'd already done about 6 of the things on the list. And if you recall the class where we talked about what do you mean by it's already done, like sort of actioning things, the moment it goes on that list, because of the energetic that I placed it there, I wasn't writing them down from the point of, I just want to write this down so I can get 100 things down or anything like that. I didn't write 100, but I challenge you to do that as well. I wrote it down because it's like, I actually knew why I wanted to have it there. I knew why. I knew what it was there for. I knew why, for example, family dinners. We've got family dinners now on a Monday night. That's it, full stop, end of story. Full stop. And a family dinner is where the 5 of us come together and we sit and we eat together. We're changing different things with our food. Boom, that just suddenly accidentally happened. And then suddenly everyone's now trying new foods. So all of this is part of finding bliss in the ordinary day. It was a Monday night. It's an amazing dinner. It was beautiful. The conversation was flowing. But it required Rod and I to first prepare for that, to ensure that we were ready to be open for it all. So this month, go back to the basics. What lights you up? How can you place that in your ordinary day? And I'm not sure if any of you have read any of Danielle Laporte's work, but she was someone who I like when I first sort of started really exploring this, probably about 15 years ago. And her core work at that time was core desired feelings. And so you chose what your core desired feelings were, and then you worked out different things to do in your moment-to-moment day that were in the ordinary. Now I'll use my language, in the ordinary day, to bring those feelings to life. And it's a great place to start. You can call them core desired feelings. You can call them values. It really doesn't matter. Whatever languaging works for you. Whatever languaging works for you. But the key is know what they are and play. Play with how to bring them to life. Look for the wonder in the ordinary and maybe spice it up a little. Like we're wanting to have tea ceremony. Well, I'm calling it a tea ceremony. Rod's calling it a tea. But like we're going with my definition. It's okay. However he sees it, it doesn't really matter. But like, so with the tea, we ended up finding that. So the day we wrote it down, we happened to be in Mount Tambourine, and then there's this beautiful tea shop. So we bought beautiful tea, selected it together, and then we've already started doing that. Using teacups, some of the older teacups from my parents, using the teapot that we received from Rod's mother, from which like an old one. And so it's already done, but it's easy. It takes 2 seconds, but it adds some delight into that moment. So let's normalize wonder. Bring life into the ordinary. Bring life into the ordinary. And choose bliss in the moment-to-moment ordinariness of life. Most of our time is doing the mundane. Most of our time. Yet, and if we can bring bliss into that, follow the bliss in the ordinary, we are bringing ourselves accidentally more into present time rather than wishing into the future. Present time. Present time is where the bliss is birthed. Present time, present time. Present time is where all the seeds are planted for the additional blissful moments. So locate the wonder in the ordinary and go back to basics.